Hi guys, I'm back in the garage again. I've been doing some work on Phoebe, the Morris Minor. If you remember, it must have been nearly 2 weeks now. I haven't had a chance to have a look at this Bandit, but I managed to get it fired up. I filled up the funnel, which in turn filled up the carburetors. No leaks. She fired up fine. Everything was running fine. Got a couple of hours today spare. I got the job done on Phoebe quicker than I thought I would, so I'll just spend a few more minutes on the Bandit. Before I put the tank on, I needed to test the valve, or the petrol tap. I told you how this works before. It works off a vacuum, so no fuel should get through to the carburetors unless the bike is started and cause the vacuum. Even turning it over with the battery will cause a vacuum when the engine is turning, and it will open the valve in here, let the fuel out. So when you shut the bike off, what should happen is no more suction through this tube, so therefore no vacuum, the tap should close, no fuel. But what was happening, it was getting stuck. I took it apart, I gave it a clean. I tested it the other day actually, and what happened was it was hit or miss. Sometimes it was shutting off, sometimes not. I'm not happy with that. One, because it'll just end up with the fuel on all the time, which we don't want, because we'll know what will happen if one of those float needles fails to seal at one time, because they're always dropping, letting fuel in, sealing up. If for some reason one of them doesn't seal, you put your bike away in your garage, this stays open, all it's going to do is flood it. And with the way this bike is now going to be kept in Craig's garage, is built into his house, so there's no way he wants a faulty fuel tap. So I thought the safest thing would do is to order a new one, which came this morning. So I think what I'll do first is get this fitted to this tap, just to make sure that's safe before we even bother to put it back on the bike. Right, got a cup of tea first. I'll go on with that after tea. Right, I've just opened the kit. You get is the new diaphragm with the rubbers, the new piston with a seal, a new spring. You even get new screws to put the tap back together, and the good thing is you get a new tank seal. So I'm going to actually take the tap off the tank. I'm going to leave it here because they're situated in this kind of V on the side here, which stops the fuel coming out. So I'll whip off that tank, which is just these two bolts here, and we'll get that out on the bench, out in the sunshine, and we'll put it back together, find out what's going on at the same time. And easy, just two bolts holding that on. That should lift out. Looks fairly clean. There's a little bit of the paint come off on that tap, but we have got that new seal, so we'll put that in before we put it back on. I'll give that a bit of a clean up around there, get any loose bits off, try not to get them into the tank. It's got a little filter there, that looks quite clean actually, so all is good. Right, let's get outside. We'll whip the old seal off. I can see there it's got bits of the paint on from the tank, but the old bits there, there's the new one here, but I won't put that on yet because there's 4 screws holding it together where the diaphragm should be inside. So we'll whip them screws out and we'll have a look what's going on. Right, I've took it right apart now, and you can see this like white dusty stuff where the fuel has broke down. That was all inside there, causing it to stick. And I think the problem with this diaphragm is, if you look closely just on the inside there, you probably can't hardly see it, but there's a tiny little split, and obviously that's letting the fuel seep through and not keeping it up in position. So I'll give this a clean up and we'll get this back together. This piece is a good clean up. Like I said, we've got a new spring. Probably nothing wrong with the old spring, but it might not be as good as that one. New seals. That, it's got the little splitting. Right, to put this together, it's got to seal both sides of this, so it's got to tuck through the middle of there to be one on the top, one on the bottom, and obviously that hole has got to be in the right situation as well. You see what I mean? That hole there. So I'll tuck this through. I'll show you when I got it together, because it's going to be a bit fiddly. Look, it's like sandwiched in between the two pieces of rubber, like so, and then lined up with that tiny hole there. And on the other side of this is an indentation where this kind of metal disc will push into the plastic, like so. So that's simple. And when we put it together, this seal here will seal up into this piece here. Let's try and get that lined up so that everything is lined up. Then I need to get the top on with the spring on top of here. Like I say, it's fiddly. I'll try and get that together now. You're probably not going to be able to see what I'm doing, but we'll see how we go. Right, there's the top on. Try and line these screws up so they go through the rubber on that diaphragm. It's all a bit fidgety. I'm not sure whether you could see exactly what I'm doing, but I hope you've got the idea of how it all works. I can blow through this. So that's sealed, and you probably can hear this. Feels like it's working. So all I can do now is tighten these up, clean up that tank, get this seal in here and get it back on. Right, cleaned the groove out, put the seal back in place. Before I can put it on the tank, I'm just going to use this blade just to give it a little clean up on that facing on this tank here where the loose paint is. Just give that a little bit of a clean off. That onto there. Some people say use sealer, some people say use grease, and some people say they even use petroleum jelly, Vaseline. I just used a little bit of sealer, not for it to seal, just to help the seal spread as you tighten it down. So that should be fine now. Right, now for the moment of truth. When I took the tank up, there should be no fuel coming out. So it's not leaking now. I can tell the valve's working. When I suck on the tube, I can hear us. If I suck on this tube, I can hear the valve opening and closing. Are sealed up in there now, so all should be good. Let's get it back on the bike. Right then, so there's the tank back on. Just moved the Harley out of the way, so get this bandit out and we'll see if that'll fire up and run properly. Let's get outside. Oh, I can't see any fluid leaking anywhere. I've left these overflows sticking out the side so I can see whether there's any problem with the float needles. Just wanted to check in the oil level. You can just see at the top of the glass by the looks, unless the glass is stained. No, it's just at the top of the glass where the line is, which is about right. So I'm definitely going to change out oil in this bike when we get it running properly. Right, let's fire it up. See, it's freezing cold, look. Alarm off. About half choke, I reckon. Fingers crossed. Well, that sounded alright. Spoke too soon. Hang on. Bit too much choke. I'll just let it warm up a little bit, gradually putting the choke in. And we'll see. Like I say, we've got to let it warm up. Although the sun's out now, and it has warmed up a bit, it was extremely cold last night. Definitely sounding better than what it did the other day. Can't see anything coming out of the overflow on either side, which is a good sign. Right, that choke is right in now. That's ticking over. Not too bad. Like I say, it's still a bit cold. It might even pick up a bit as it warms up, who knows. You can always adjust it with this. But it's definitely sounding better than it did the other day. So we'll just leave that ticking over for a little while so it gets nice and warm. And I might just fire it just around the short block here, just to make sure it's running okay. Well, it seems to rev all right. Can't go far for obvious reasons, but I just need to check. Clyde couldn't even get to the end of the road. Just feels really strange compared with a Harley, that's for sure. Like I say, it seems to be revving alright to me. Does feel like that's a lot better than what it was the other day when Craig took it out, that's for sure. The only thing I can do now is let Craig take his bike and see how he gets on with it. Seems to me he's hesitating a bit, but what do I know? Maybe I'm in the wrong gear. But like I say, the main thing, it hasn't conked out on me, has it? Like Craig said it did. I think I'm going to leave it at that and tell Craig to come and have a try. And if he's happy, take it for the MOT. And then, if all is well, we'll get the oil changed and a filter, and that should be okay. Well, I'm happy. I just hope he is. I'll get the side covers and stuff back on it now.